Guys, it's 2024. It's 2024. And we're doing this. Did anyone ever expect this? We've got a lot to talk about. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. This is episode number 290 of WWE Turn Alert. This is probably, in my opinion, since the Roman Reigns heel turn. Which episode number that was, I cannot remember off the top of my head. I have to go a little bit back. But this is probably the biggest episode of WWE Turn Alert I have ever done. It's that big. I, honest to God, until, the weekend kind of got a little busy and exhausting, and I'm trying to play catch up today, I almost went live for this one. I was going to do an episode of Turn Alert live for a couple reasons. First off, again, because of how big this one was, how shocking and kind of a curveball this is, and also because I tried to talk about this somewhat in my Raw review the other night when it was live, which is why it was originally titled the Raw Review and Recap of the Road to WrestleMania, the WrestleMania 40 Kickoff Press Conference from Las Vegas this past Thursday night. But I got tired during the review, and I felt like I didn't do a good job addressing my thoughts on that press conference. Either way, though, I was going to do a Turn Alert. So this Turn Alert is going to kind of make up for that. But again, guys, I do apologize as always. As you know me, I do not like it whenever I do live streams. And I get tired, and I feel like I don't put out my best content. So we're going to do it here. So, I'm sure this isn't the only time, because I'm pretty sure, I don't think this is going to be a super duper long-term thing. But we're going to talk about this. So, this past week in wrestling, as most of you know, was very nuts. One of the most anticipated weeks, one of the big what the heck is going on here happened this past week in wrestling. When Cody Rhodes showed up on Friday Night SmackDown, not this past Friday, the Friday before, and it was never officially announced, but he basically told Roman he was going to take the title from him, but not at WrestleMania. He said he had talked to some people, one of them he knew very well. And that person was in fact The Rock. Now, of course, the match was teased at the beginning of the year at day one when The Rock showed up out of nowhere, which was the second time in a few months he had shown up. The first time was a few months earlier, in like September or October, on the same day he was on the Pat McAfee show. He showed up there. But on day one, he threw the tease out there where The Rock said he was going to go to San Diego. Should The Rock sit at the booth? Should The Rock sit at the bar? Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? And of course, the crowd just went nuts. Everyone, including myself, has been wanting to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I would say, for me at least, since Royal Rumble 2015. Ever since that night, I think we've been saying that's the match that's got to happen. And it will at some point happen. They've got to do it at some point. But not just yet. Because just like last year, we kind of ran into a little bit of a problem. We had two things going on here. Last year, people knew Cody Rhodes was going to win the Rumble, but they also were behind Sami Zayn. Well, this year, we had The Rock teased having a match with Roman Reigns, but then also people want Cody Rhodes to finish the story. So, what happens? Well, again, Cody wins the Rumble. Then he goes to SmackDown after Seth Rollins makes some points to him, and he says he'll think about it. And then he shows up on SmackDown, And he says he wants to take everything from Roman Reigns, including his title, but not at WrestleMania. And again, that's when The Rock showed up. And for the first time, I would say probably since 2015, The Rock and Roman Reigns were both in the same ring at the same time. And that stare down, whoo, oh boy. So that left everybody wondering, confused. The internet's going crazy, which I will also be one person to say it definitely went way too far. Absolutely way too far. With people like bullying The Rock and his daughters, Simone Johnson, Ava, and NXT. Way too far. Bullying them on Twitter. Guys, I get it. We're passionate about wrestling. We want to see, the moments that we desire. We have our voices. Yes, that is true. But unless there's some people who are literally threatening our lives. And, I'm going to be honest here. I'm guilty of that too. I was upset when Vince McMahon was still around. I, at times would just voice my displeasures on Twitter about Vince McMahon. So I'm guilty of it too. But I don't think I ever bullied someone that much on Twitter that basically I was saying things making bad gestures towards them. I voiced opinions before, yes, but I never wished bad on people. Is it that bad that you guys had to stoop that low? No offense, that was ridiculous. And for that, I do think there's people who do owe the Johnson family an apology. The past week, I was more so on the fact that I'm confused because although I want Roman Reigns versus The Rock, I do also want to see Cody get his moment that he is definitely deserved. And I also was they can't both, because I have not been the fan of the idea of a triple threat. Although I'm not going to lie, after what happened at the press conference, I am a big fan though. I wouldn't mind seeing that tag match with Roman and The Rock versus Seth and Cody in a tag team match. Which, that's another thing to address here too, which we will briefly recap the press conference in a second here before we get to, the story, the whole reason why we're here for this video. But again, I don't like, though, how they're continually making Seth, voicing on the shows that Seth is basically a number 2 champion. I don't like that at all. I really don't. That's, because honestly, to me, it's if that's the case, why should Seth continue to be a babyface? If that's the case. Seth should be, getting angry at that, wanting to show them wrong. Plus 2, he should be angry at Cody if Cody chose Roman Reigns over him. Because, of course, he wanted to prove that that is the workhorse title. But anyway, so the fans went crazy. This whole week, it's what the heck is going on? And then we got to the press conference. So, my overall thoughts of the press conference. Again, the best thing for sure was definitely the closing segment. We had a couple other segments, we had Rhea Ripley come out, and we had Becky Lynch come out, teasing that match, which I think either that will happen, or I'm not going to lie, I do kind of see them maybe giving it to Liv Morgan. Because Liv Morgan does have a history, and she also was, although, of course, here's the thing, Liv Morgan could eventually be the one to dethrone Rhea, if it's not at WrestleMania. Because they have their history, and Rhea was the one who wrote Liv off TV. But Liv was the first person that Rhea turned on when she turned heel. But I think the match still is going to be Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. And again, I love Becky. I still don't think she should be the one to end Rhea's reign, though. I don't. Bianca was there, too. Now, here's the only problem. I get Bianca was probably there. She's had a great history, although she doesn't have a match yet. She is in the chamber, which, talking about my SmackDown review, how this past episode of Raw ruined my predictions. for my chamber match card. Now I wish I would have kept them because I was more right then than I was for what after Raw. Although I do like that back and forthness, but I still think the eventual goal is for Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. I don't see her wrestling Rhea. Although they had teased it last year too, I still think it's going to be Becky. It should be the one to fight Rhea at WrestleMania. The one gripe I will give, though, is the fact that I did not like that Bayley or Io weren't there. I don't like that at all. That is before this show, that was the only official match we had for WrestleMania. And neither of them were on the show. And I really feel like they're treating that as like a backseat. And I don't like that. You had Bayley win the Rumble. Yes, I do agree with the fact that, Bayley's stock is not as high as it used to be. I get that. But if you want people to care, you gotta have Bayley at that press conference. Like, I get they're probably promoting her and Montez's show, but I feel like the Rumble winner should come preference to someone who is not even in the Rumble. No offense to Bianca. If they wanted Bianca to be there, still fine. But they should have at least given some time for Io and Bayley, I thought, in my opinion as well. Heck, I'll say this. They could have teased Bayley still not being sure on SmackDown and had her make her decision as well at the press conference. Maybe, I don't know. But anyways, let's get to the reason why we're here. So, we had Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns come out, of course. And of course, they're both stating their claims as to why, Seth more so stated his claim as to why he thinks Cody should pick him. Roman Reigns comes out and he starts acting like, because of what Cody did on Friday, he has all the power to, throw his weight around, to pick what he does at WrestleMania. So, he was going to pick The Rock to face him at WrestleMania. The Rock came out, and The Rock showed there's a little fly on my face. The Rock showed like a family tree, and how the Johnson and the Onyoai family, kind of like agreed to come together. And then The Rock, knowing that, because let me say this. Before I even get to the payoff of everything from this segment, I am starting to believe, again, Triple H, WWE was having We Want Cody signs at Raw for people to use. They were taking the backlash and rolling with it, which is what they should do. If Vince McMahon was still around, he wouldn't be doing that. He'd be pushing it right back in our faces, say, live with it and deal with it. You wanted this match, but now all of a sudden you want, I don't know what the heck you want. Triple H knows how to roll with things. And I'll say this too. Had it not been for Cody Rhodes, people would not have given The Rock and Roman the backlash. And it's a shame that that's what it came down to. But they made it right. They made things right. To everybody else except for Roman and The Rock, that is. So, but my point here is I think they did this because they wanted to see who the fans really wanted. Yes, they may want both, but what do they really want? And for this past week, they wanted Cody. So, of course, that's why The Rock, again, just rolled with it and healed up. He was saying how The Rock and Roman is the biggest match to ever be done at WrestleMania, which could very well be the case when it happens. May not be this year, but most likely I think it'll happen next year, and I'll explain why towards the end. And then he says basically it's going to be brought together by blood. So, and then him and Roman kind of shake on it, and I think they hug also too. I can't remember if they hugged or not, but basically it was kind of it's a friendly feud, a friendly fight, basically. There's no true tension between them right now. It's not personal. Then finally Cody goes, whoa. This is BS. And he comes out here and says that the only person that has the power to choose who the main event is for WrestleMania is me. Because I won the Royal Rumble. And that's when he officially picks Roman Reigns. Which, once again, then Roman Reigns just snaps and it's like, are you stupid? Are you embarrassing your family? You had your shot last year and you failed. Because of Paul Heyman, make sure to address that at some point. Gotta address that at some point. The only reason I've been saying that millions and millions of times the past year, made a freaking short on it, put Paul Heyman's head on the snake itself. Paul Heyman is Roman Reigns Nagini. And I'll say this too. The Rock is Professor Snape. Yeah, that's right. I'm putting all Harry Potter references in this Bloodline storyline. The Rock is now the Professor Snape of the Bloodline. He's the red herring. He's the one that you're going to... I'm spoiling my end result here. He is the one you think is actually with the bad guys. But in reality is, he's trying to trick the bad guys. My opinion. I'll explain that all why in a second. But basically, he told him, go to the loser's bracket. And again, basically calls Seth like the number twos. And whatnot, which again, I don't like that. I don't like that this whole year, ever since that World Heavyweight Championship came back into play, everyone has basically mentioned it's just a secondary title. I hate that. I absolutely hate that so much. And Seth is just rolling with it. They gotta stop that. It's driving me nuts. But hopefully that will stop once Roman drops the belt at WrestleMania. Because he will drop the belt this year. He better. But anyways, after some back and forth, and then of course, Roman disses on Cody's family. And Cody was like, you want to talk about family? Where's Jay? And completely disses on the Bloodline, basically what Roman's done all along. Well, then The Rock steps in and goes, whoa. He goes, you talk about his family, you talk about my family. And he says something else to him, and then boom! He slapped Chris Rock's Will Smith and Chris Rock, but he slaps Cody across the face. And then, of course, the press conference ends with Seth Rollins sticking up for Cody, which... Again, why isn't Seth not mad at Cody, though, for not picking him? And why is he sticking up for him? Which, that was confusing. Like, the thing is there's still some confusion here. And then they try to break them up. And then afterwards, there was like a backstage interview with Jackie Redmond interviewing Triple H. And he was about to address things. But then The Rock and Roman and Heyman walk by and The Rock says, you better fix this. And he starts cussing at Hunter as well. So, at the time being, it seems like The Rock and Roman Reigns are a powerful corporate duo. Holy smokes! The Rock took the heat he was getting, rolled with it, and turned heel. That's right, for the first time since 2003, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is corporate. He's a heel. Him and the Samoans believe they run this place. But honestly, again, it's not him who runs the place. Someone else said on SmackDown, which we'll talk about that in my SmackDown review, who actually the answers the answers to the questions go through. And that's the game. But anyways, so yes, The Rock is going to be a heel. And I love it. I love the fact that, again, as we said when Cody won the Rumble, there's got to be some other hurdle for Cody besides just winning the Rumble. Because I kept saying, if Cody just wins the Rumble, then there's no point of seeing anything else until he gets his rematch at WrestleMania. You wanted to see Cody go through some sort of struggle to get to that rematch at WrestleMania. And they did it right here. They have The Rock in the corner of Roman Reigns. Even though The Rock wanted to fight Roman, but they both just want to have the biggest WrestleMania event of all time. There's no story there. So who would want to see that? But still, that's a match that's got to happen. It's been teased as hell. Now it's got to happen. But I think the biggest thing is I'm still confused. First, again, the fact that why is Seth Rollins not upset? And why was he sticking up for Cody Rhodes? Again, that just made me want to see the tag match with Roman and The Rock versus Cody and Seth. But of course, first off, Seth's still hurt. So he still probably won't be wrestling at all until WrestleMania. But then there's the fact that Roman already is not going to be going to Chamber, from what I've heard. But, so here's one or two things. Well, the biggest thing that I just think needs to make sense is how did we get from Friday to Thursday? Like, how did we get from Cody Rhodes wanting to give up his WrestleMania, to seemingly give up his WrestleMania spot for The Rock, to him then taking it back? There's one or two things going on here that I think is happening. One, the biggest thing we have to learn is what the heck did Cody Rhodes and The Rock talk about when they had that little council thing Cody said he had on SmackDown. Either one, he told Cody to pick Seth because the fans want to see Roman versus The Rock. That is the bigger match. That could be a thing. That honestly could possibly be a thing. It makes sense. Or, here's the one that I think is going to be the case. Because I mentioned this, of course, recently as well. Like I said before, I compare things to Harry Potter, so I'm a big Harry Potter fan. What if The Rock is now the Professor Snape of the Bloodline? Where it seems like he's with Roman. But in reality is, him and Cody are actually working together. And Cody knows as long as the bloodline exists, he knows as long as all pieces, Jimmy, Solo, Paul Heyman, again, Paul Heyman is still the number one reason why Cody did not win that match last year. Cody had Roman in the palm of his hand until Heyman interfered in that match, allowing Solo, who Cody had already beaten, had already gotten ejected from ringside during that match. The only reason why Solo got back in there was because of Paul Heyman. And in a way that doesn't make Cody look weak. More so the fact that The Rock just takes out the trash like he did when he appeared at Rumble. He didn't eliminate Big Show and Kane. He just got them out of Roman's way for Roman to finish the match because Rusev was still in. Again, yes, that was not a good thing to have The Rock get involved in because he just brought him in just to nerf a reaction that night. But oh man, I'm really rolling on this here. But the most electrifying man can be the equalizer that gets Paul Heyman out of the picture. And that could be what helps Cody take out Roman at WrestleMania. And from that, it makes the tension with Roman and Rock more personal, leading to their eventual match, which at this point would probably be at WrestleMania 41. And the good news is I also still think that match does not need a title involved. Will it main event at WrestleMania? Absolutely. Again, The Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes ending a historic reign that will be around 1,300 days at WrestleMania 40. It better happen this year. I can forgive last year, but it better happen this year. But again, both matches, I just don't think can overlap each other. You can't do one on night one. They're both night two main events. Nothing else is going to top those matches off. Plus two, now you have no reason to hate on the match that obviously WWE was trying to see who the crowd wanted more. They basically said that, okay, let's throw this out here, guys. Who do you want? And The Rock rolled with the fans, went heel, went corporate, and now we're getting Cody and Roman part 2. But again, I still think the long-term plan is for The Rock to turn on Roman at WrestleMania. I don't think this is going to be a whole year-long thing. I mean, they could. Cody can still overcome the odds with The Rock in Roman's corner. And maybe do something a little more further. Maybe we will at some point get that match with Roman and The Rock and Cody and Seth. Maybe. I don't know how that would work, but you never know. But the fact that Rock is a heel in 2024 now is still unreal. But again, we got to find out. And again, Triple H is a guy of like, remember when this happened? Well, this is why. With these moments here. So, all I'm saying is I just want it to make sense. And I think eventually it will. At some point though, probably won't be until WrestleMania, we gotta find out what did Roman and Cody talk. I mean, what did The Rock and Cody talk about? It's either The Rock was trying to convince Cody that him facing Roman is the bigger match, or the fact that they're secretly working together. And again, The Rock is the Professor Snape of the Bloodline. Guys, definitely almost a half an hour. The longest turn alert I've ever done again. The biggest turn alert, again, that I nearly went live for. What are your guys' thoughts on The Rock being a heel? What are your thoughts on this whole controversy, this whole shenanigans with the main event of WrestleMania 40? And what do you guys think Cody Rhodes and The Rock talked about? And when will The Rock versus Roman Reigns happen? Leave your guys' opinions. Civil, no need to bully anybody. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content to come to my channel. And you may follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, the Club of the Man 1993. And as always, guys, it may not be another one as big as this one, but please stay tuned for more WWE Turn Alert.